Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, and welcome to Inkdependence.com. Today we are looking at this ink. This is Kyo-no-oto Nurebairo, and I have this in a sample from Anderson Pens. You're going to have to take my word for that, because I've lost the sample vial, and I have no idea where it got off to. So anyway, we're going to do it without the sample vial, which was actually kind of empty anyway, because I put this in 3 pens, and I've actually been using it for quite a while. Here's the bottle that these inks actually come in. It looks like this. This is, of course, an empty one from a different color, but sometimes when you go to pen shows, vendors will have these just empty bottles from various brands that they'll just give away. So when people make samples and stuff, they don't want to just throw the empty bottles away because some of us like them. So this is the empty bottle from a Kyo-no-oto. Anyway, so they look like that. It's a cute little bottle. Not particularly big, that's the only thing, but a cute little bottle. All right. So let's take a closer look at this ink and zoom in a skosh. Okay, so this is what it looks like up close, and it looks like it's pretty much a black, right? It turns out it's actually not a black, although it has looked black in literally every pen that I've put this in, and that's those 3 that I showed earlier. We'll look at writing samples from each of those 3 here as we go, because they're all very different. You can see here a whole lot of like bronze sheen going on. It doesn't outweigh the black ink, I don't think, so it's not one of these sheen monster inks, but there is quite a lot if you get it in the right light. And then if you tilt it this way, I swear I saw it before, a little bit. It looks like almost a purpley sheen, but it's pretty much just bronze. And as I say here on the Rhodia 16 pound, this stuff sheens very well. It's got an interesting sheen. You don't see that sort of bronzy sheen very often. And I have it in these 3 pens here, the Platinum 3776, the Franklin Christoph 27 with a stub nib, and the Sailor Music nib. I kept putting it in bigger nibs, and the medium nib on a Platinum 3776 is actually a pretty darn fine nib, actually. I mean, for me. And I was getting hard starts. I was getting it drying up in the nib. When it writes, once it gets started, it's quite good. But if you stop writing with it for very long at all, it'll stop right up, and that's not ideal. And it's pretty odd from a 3776. They're supposed to keep, the ink wet in the nib and all this sort of thing for like a year. This, let's go in order. This is the Franklin Christoph 27 that I had it in, and this is a broad stub. It's a number 5 broad stub, so it's not a huge one, but it is a nice broad stub, and it's fairly on the wet side. I did get a few hard starts with this one even, which is unusual. This is a pen that I've had for, I don't know, years and years, and it doesn't usually give me hard starts. And then this is the Sailor Mosaic, and this has a music nib. And the music nib on Sailors, as you'll remember from my video on music nibs, is just a big, broad, wet stub. This is extra broad and extra wet for a stub. And it's great, and I've had no problems getting this one started. So when you get enough flow going on, this ink does start right up. But the reason I put it in 3 pens, and that's more than usual even for me, is that I just really didn't care for it all that much for the first pen or 2. I don't love it in this Shungyo. I can't wait to get it out of here, honestly, because I want to put an ink in there that has more flow and will give you a better experience with that sort of fine medium nib. Here are the 3 writing samples that I did with this one, and as you'll see, this one, it comes out sort of, it's very, very thin, but I think that's also because the flow is a little bit anemic. I mean, once it gets going, it's pretty good, and you can definitely see, you can see the sheen on the paper there, I think, even with the fine nib, and actually maybe especially with the fine nib. With the other ones, you get some, but I think it's spreading out the ink more, or some such thing, and so I'm not getting quite as much sheen with these broader nibs, which is interesting to me. But I like the sheen in the fine. I just wish that it was a little bit wetter. And when I do these ink reviews, I don't experiment with the ink at all, so I didn't add anything to it. I didn't dilute it, nothing like that. This is just the way it goes. So it all looks black here. What I found out is that this is not actually a black ink, and I didn't find that out until I was actually cleaning off the nibs. So this one, I left the ink in for like a week or 2 and didn't write with it, and it just wouldn't write again until I primed it up, and it was hard starting. So I decided to go ahead and clean the nib unit, and so I took it out and washed it out in the sink or whatever, and it was like dark blue in the sink. And I said, well, that's darn strange. This is a black ink. Well, it's not really. We'll see that when we see the, well, let's go ahead and look at it now. There we go. This is the coloring card for this ink. And as you can see, when you spread it out enough on this kind of paper, it's actually a super dark blue. And you can see that even a little bit in the ink splash that I do here with the syringe. Just started doing that. It feels kind of nice. I like it. You do get a lot of bronzy sheen still in here, but it's definitely like a super dark blue black. So not exactly a black, although in all the nibs that I tested it in, it just looks straight up black. I actually just paused to look at it real close, and yeah, it just looks black to me on the paper, which is weird because it's definitely a dark blue, but it's just a super, super dark blue. So there you go. Let's look at it on a couple of other kinds of paper. This is the regular old 20-pound Staples paper that I use, and you can see, as I shifted in the lights there, you can see a little bit of sheen, especially off of this this medium nib from the Platinum. So a little bit of sheen there. But you're not going to see any feathering, which is really nice. Even from the music nib, no feathers at all. And then on the back, you see a little bit of ghosting, perhaps. Maybe a couple little spots that you could call bleed. But even from the music nib, which is a really wet writer, this one does very well on copy paper. So if you're looking for an ink and you can sort of overlook the sort of drying out in the nib problem, this one is really good. And it would be great for office use and all that kind of stuff. This is a really nice ink once you get it going. That's the only problem with it. All right, so let's get a couple of other papers right quick before we do the water test. Here it is in an Inky Fingers, currently inked. This is a wheat straw paper, and there is the ink there. Of course, there's no bleed or feather or spread on this. This is a tougher paper than the 20-pound Office Bond. This is that Sailor Music nib. And it comes out looking still here black. I didn't even notice it was blue until I was about to start the video. And then here it is in those other two pens. The Shungyo, which I actually inked up on 420, and also the 27 I inked up on 420. This one, actually, I've been using this ink since January. This is about since I got this... well, I guess it's maybe the second or third ink that I had in this pen, but I keep putting Kyo-no-otos in it because I know how it works with those, but I'm also just not really ever happy with those in that pen. So keep it in a wetter pen like the broad stub or like this music nib, and I think you'll be much happier with this ink. Here it is on an ink journal. There we go, ink journal. This is the Tomoe River ink journal, and there it is on the Tomoe River. You can see there is some sheen here that comes out when you shifted in the light a little bit, but not a ton. Like I said, oddly enough, with the music nibs and stuff, I'm not getting nearly as much sheen as I was with the others. And then here it is in the Platinum. I actually didn't write with it in the 3776, or in the 27 for some reason. I don't know how that got overlooked, but it's not there. So I don't know. It's just that one. And a little bit of sheen there. Yeah, a little bit of sheen. Just a little bit of shine, really. You don't see as much sheen. There it is. There it is. That's the sheen. So, I mean, if you're looking for an ink that'll be a little bit dry, but will somehow sheen in a fine nib, there you go. It's not too bad. All right, let's do the water test right quick. Here is the water. Come on. There we go. Oof. Yeah, that's not going to be good. Not good for a water test anyway. All right, there we go. Let's let that work for a sec. This Rhodia paper is very, very resistant to water, so I don't have to worry about it coming through the page or anything. And let's go ahead and mop it up. I'm pretty careful doing that. I just let the paper absorb it, or rather the paper towel absorb it, because I don't really want this on my desk. It's got enough character for now. Thanks. All right. Let's get this corner here and just dry it down. Okay. Yeah, not great. This is... Whoops. I wrecked the focus. There we go. Okay. And we're back. Yeah, so not great as far as this goes. It's definitely come off onto this paper towel, actually kind of in an interesting way, because that's where I dabbed it up, and then it spreads out. It's kind of a nice little pre-chromatography action. Just over here. And as you can see here, it really did not survive the water test at all. So I'm a little surprised by that, but not terribly. We're going to look at the chromatography here in a sec. It totally, well, not totally, but almost totally obliterated the water test text here. Not much here either left of the cross hatches and dots. Okay, so check out this here chromatography. And then here is what it looks like when we're done. There's the whole strip there. And here's the bottom where I started out the ink and where it went. And it went up pretty quickly, as you saw in that chromatography. And then really, it just kind of just dragged this up as I was letting it dry, hanging here on my light. So yeah, no water resistance on this one. Don't get this one wet or you will be sorry. All right, so this has been Kyo-no-oto Nurebairo. And it's a bit of a mixed bag for this one for me. I don't think I'm going to be buying a bottle of this one. There are other cool blacks out there and other even super dark blue. Oh, you can't see the blue black though. This definitely makes it look like a blue black, huh? But there are other cool blacks out there that I would rather use, I think. And so I'll probably be looking at those pretty soon. I know I've got Colorverse, what is it, Supernova or anyway, some like black one with like blue sheen. I'm looking for that. So I'm looking for other sheeny blacks, but this one's just not really fitting the bill for me because it's too dry. So you can find this at your local Kyo-no-oto and Kyo-iro dealers. I got this one from Anderson Pens, so thank you very much, Anderson Pens, for sending this out for a review. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out.